So in Worth the Wait, the very first 21 minutes of the show was focused on Chelsea Green. And because they were introducing the new US championship, they decided to give that title to Chelsea Green. And what I liked about this episode was the fact that they gave Chelsea her moment, not only in the ring to be champion, but they gave it to her on this mini series as well. I can't talk, so pardon me for mispronouncing words. um Chelsea made a very valid point. The way Chelsea has, substantiated herself in this business, and more specifically in WWE, was she was the yes girl. They wanted to put cake and pour pumpkin pie filling on your head and throw you in a garbage can. Sure, I'll do that. She understood very early on what her place was. She was the comic relief. She was the one you would put in matches that they were definitely going to be booked to lose. But Chelsea's philosophy wasn't, oh my God, I'm a jobber. Oh my God, they're never going to give me any time to shine. Her philosophy was, if I'm being booked, I don't care what you make me do, but I'm booked. And you know what? That is an entirely different way to have an outlook on life, but it's smart because what it does is it constantly puts Chelsea in the conversation. And the way she went about it, she created herself a niche that nobody else can do. Nobody can do it better than Chelsea can. She essentially knows that her character is a Karen. She understands that fully. So Chelsea positioned herself to be someone that was reliable. And in this business, that's like having a golden ticket to the dance. It doesn't always give you opportunities at championships and being in major feuds and possibly being booked as a main eventer. But it does put your ass on TV almost every single week. And it does make you be seen by the fans, which makes you popular, which eventually will lead to you being a main eventer. So Chelsea was very smart in how she presented herself. She had some unfortunate situations that happened to her, breaking her arm twice, once in 2014 in the very start of her career, and then again in 2020 during the Royal Rumble, and then shortly after Chelsea was released. Chelsea went on to go all over the world wrestling. She married her husband, Matt Cardona, and they had their moment. And she's been wrestling on the indie circuit and in TNA ever since. And then she says during the doc, one day I just texted Triple H like, "Can I have my job back?" And he was like, "Sure, let's go." What really makes me like Chelsea outside of her character, because I hate her character. But I respect that bitch's hustle. What I like about Chelsea is that she's very, very strategic about how she moves. She understands where she is and she knows how to work it to the best of its ability. And I think that's what puts Chelsea in a league that's light years ahead of her coworkers and colleagues, because she's not afraid to be down in the dirt or to look that way. She's not afraid to go out there and make a complete and utter fool of herself, but because she understands that this is about entertainment. She understands that this is how I'm going to be able to get myself booked. I don't have the talent, and Chelsea's not a bad wrestler. Chelsea's actually a very good wrestler, has great ring awareness, and she was willing to take the bumps. Chelsea is the quintessential um ring dance partner that you would want to have if you are not only trying to showcase what a superstar can do, but more specifically give a particular superstar the moment to shine without it being a full-on squash match. She is going to be your perfect dance partner, and that's what sets Chelsea apart from everybody else. She's incredibly smart with how she has navigated this, and I can understand for her how it can be frustrating. I know what it feels like to always have to be in control of everything. And then when you have to leave the reins to other people, you are, you feel like you're weightless and you can't breathe. And it's almost like you're having an anxiety attack because you want to just run and change it so you can fix it because you know the best. Your brain is telling you, you know best, go fix it. So I understand what she means when she says it's incredibly frustrating for someone who's used to having control, having to relinquish it to the powers that be. Um, she was very disappointed when they were in war games in Vancouver, and she's from Vancouver. She couldn't be on the card. I don't understand why they don't let people wrestle in their hometown or win on their hometown. I always felt like I know it's like everybody can't go to their hometown or whatever, and I get it. But at the same time, when you do get to go to your hometown and you're the hometown hero, it's an automatic pop for you every single fucking time. So my thing is let them have a moment in their hometown. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're a heel villainous character, let them have a moment in their hometown. Like let's not do that. But I really enjoyed this part of Chelsea's journey to the new US title. And she just seemed, Chelsea is very, very genuine. And her job, she feels as though it's her job to sell, to make the girls look good, and to give them their big moments until it's time for hers. And Michin was able to give her her moment. She sold that unpretty her. And one thing I did agree with Chelsea with, and I didn't like that Shane Helms was making her in the match on a finisher with a fucking leg drop from the top rope. And Chelsea's like, I've never done that before. Like, why? I'm winning the title. So why not give me the opportunity to use my finisher? You want me to use somebody else's moves to finish a match of this magnitude? No, like I'm gonna use my move. And she was like, I was always gonna use the unpretty her, and I did it. And she did, and it was such a cool way that she was able to do it. I have to say that was the better call, and Chelsea was right on that one. Shane Helms has been wrong on many occasions. Now I'm gonna tell you which one he was wrong on. He was wrong on booking that triple threat for Mania when they had the girls headline Mania that year. It wasn't that the women were headlining, it was a shitty match. And he booked it. He also cut off the other half of the women's roster to make this monumental match that could have been made years later with, and no shade to Ronda or Charlotte or Becky, but it could have been made years later with other girls. Like, case in point, if Bianca hadn't injured herself, they could have doubled back to this, and they've already had a triple threat main event. You know what I'm saying? They had Bianca, Io, and Rhea main event Mania the other year. Well, it wasn't a main event, but you get what I'm saying. They should have, because that match was fired. But they could have had it so that the main event, in the later years could have been between Bianca, Naomi, and Jade. Since they went to Mania the year before, they could end it at Mania the next year. You know what I'm saying? Full circle moment, right? So, child, I fucked with it. I was like, you know what, Chelsea, you are 1,000% correct. You should not end this match on somebody else's move, especially with this being your first WWE championship. It's a history making match to begin with, and you want me to end this match with somebody else's move, a known racist at that, bitch. Hell no, I'm not doing that, and I don't blame her. So kudos to you, Chelsea. Kudos. You know, she watched War Games from the box and was, and watched them compete. And she looked cute, had her makeup done, really cute boots. But I can understand how she felt left out in that moment. I could fully understand that. But you know what? And I ain't gonna lie, when Chelsea won, I was disappointed because I really wanted Michin to win. I feel like Michin is not even getting half the shit Chelsea is getting. And even though Chelsea, looks at it as, a glass half full situation, I feel like Michin is really put on the back burner a lot. And I don't know if it's that, she hasn't really quite figured out what her niche is or found herself yet, but I will say this. I am looking forward to the time when Michin gets to have her flowers, because they gave it to Vega for a short amount of time, and I'm looking forward to the time when Michin actually gets to have hers. I'm happy for Chelsea. This documentary gave me a different perspective on her, and I appreciate what Chelsea brings to the table. I respect her hustle, and I respect her ability to understand her position, not only in this company, but just in wrestling in general. And she has an integral position. A lot of people want to be the top guy, but sometimes it's okay to be the middle guy. It's okay to be the reliable guy. Cause at one, I tell you one thing, the money spins the same fucking way. The paycheck hits the bank every week, and if you're on TV, that TV is working. You getting money, okay? You getting that TV bonus, right? You getting paid your regular salary. You get a TV salary or whatever the case may be. However the contracts are structured, you get paid. You get to be able to be on TV. You are somebody that people recognize, as opposed to a lot of other superstars who don't even have that. So I appreciate Chelsea's ability to make lemonade out of lemons. She is very astute in that, and I have to give Chelsea her props for being 10,000 years smarter than most of the other people who are in this wrestling world and a lot of the wrestling fans, because Chelsea is fully aware and understands exactly what she is and what she brings to the table. And she ain't wavering on that. You know what I'm saying? I do think that her being a yes person is to her detriment sometimes. But I also think that had she had not knuckled down and done it this way, the Chelsea Green we know and see to this day, we would never know of. When you watch the show, you also get Bianca Belair in the beginning, and it explains how Bianca, you know, went through the trenches of NXT, got to the main roster, and was just torpedoed to the top. And she really honed it very, very well. And it talks about her ability to sew her own gear and her dedication to that. She is a stickler for wanting to sew each and every piece of gear for each major event. But Bianca is always on a crunch for time. You know, she rarely ever has the moment where she's just like, I can actually enjoy this. Bianca is always on a crunch for time. So she never really finishes the gear. She does what she can to, but she'll finish everything else. But that woman is always sewing to the last minute, which is crazy to me. It's batshit bonkers. But in the second half of this episode, you finished out with Bianca heading into Elimination Chamber. And we also finished out with Charlotte Flair. So in this episode of Worth the Wait, we got Chelsea in the beginning, a little bit of Bianca, and then we went into Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair's chronicle started when she, injured her knee wrestling Asuka. It was a freak accident. It was Charlotte's first really big injury. She's never been injured like this. And Charlotte was gone in an instant for a year and some change. And this was devastating to her. The mental aspect of the injury was worse than the actual injury itself. They allowed her to heal her MCL naturally, so they didn't have to repair both ligaments. They went in, said her knee looked perfectly fine, everything looked great. They just needed to repair the other ACL that was torn. They repaired it. She was rehabbing the next day, and everything seemed to be going fine. But Charlotte's biggest issue was not her actual physical knee. It was her being in her own head, the what if scenarios. And I think a lot of how the fans treat Charlotte played a major factor into this as well. The fans are not kind to Charlotte. They're not kind to her. They never have been, and I don't think that they ever really truly will be. They are always going to be waiting on the shoe to drop with her. And I have always been a strong protector and advocate of that woman because I know a facade when I see one. And I know a person who is not as strong as they appear on television. I know it when I see it. And she was one of them. She seems to be a very sweet but loving type of person. But I know that it doesn't take much to really hurt her. And I was like, no. My innate reaction is to always defend and protect her. Every single time. I'm always at this end where I'm just like, oh no, we're not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? But she's an incredible athlete, extremely athletic, beyond skilled. I don't even think she understood the magnitude of her skill. And as soon as Charlotte really got into her stride, WWE rested on her just like they rested on Roman, just like they rested on Seth, just like they've rested on CM Punk, Triple H, Drew McIntyre. The list goes on. She was one of those guys. And she always was at Mania. And the problem that a lot of people have is they're like, oh, it's always Charlotte. And it's like, yeah, but it's always Roman. But it's always Seth. And now it's always CM Punk. And it's going to always be Cody. But you don't complain or bitch or moan about that. You don't treat them like, oh, well, they're not doing anything different. You don't say anything or break down their shit the way y'all do Charlotte. And she deserves better than that. You know, she deserves to be treated with respect. She deserves to be treated like a top billing star because a lot of the times your favorites would not be the top billing star that they are without her, i.e., Rhea Ripley. And y'all can call it whatever you want to. But if it hadn't been for that Mania match and that feud between them, the multiple feuds that they had, pushing her to be better and be greater, Rhea Ripley wouldn't be where she is today. And even she will tell you that. Charlotte deserves a lot more respect than she gets. And she puts a lot of pressure on herself, a lot, because she has a lot to live up to. The expectation is high and the anticipation is high. She doesn't have room to make mistakes. You don't give her an opportunity to fail. So when you think about her, you need to think about her in the terms of she's done everything that your favorites have probably not even been able to get to the pinnacle to be able to do. And in spite of all of that, in spite of all of your drama and all your bullshit and the way you talked and disrespected this woman, she has still persevered and come through up the other side partially unscathed. And I stand by my statements that I have made on countless occasions. Y'all that have been disrespecting that lady the way that you have, you owe her an apology. Now that I'm done with my rant, we will continue with the show. Charlotte Flair talked about her struggles with coming back, and we watched the WWE creative room go over who could possibly win the Royal Rumble for the women. And in that particular conversation, it was in a scenario popped up. The scenario was that they could have a double elimination at with the last two in the ring, and 30 shows up, and it's Chelsea Green, and Chelsea wins. And I would have died. I would have hated that so fucking much. I would have hated it so much. And I feel like they're going to put that in their back pocket and use it one year. But I would have hated that beyond belief. I would have been online going the fuck off, especially if that match was stellar. If it was stellar, I would have been like, bitch. Like, I would have been so mad. But it would have been a good way to put a new person at the top without having to do a lot of effort. And it would have been very interesting to see how they would book the feud going forward for whoever was champion at the time. With all that being said, Charlotte Flair did win the Royal Rumble. And like I said, the fans weren't the happiest about it. It was very nasty how they turned on her. But overall, the girls in the back fully supported Charlotte. They loved on her when she got back there. Cody is very much like a ring general in the sense that he is, even though he's the face guy, he is always there for people when they have their pivotal moments. If you pay attention, he pops up in frame at some point to give some type of encouragement, to give some type of love, to make sure they see him, they know him, they respect him, they love him because he gives them that type of love, encouragement, and admiration, just to make them feel like, what you've done and how you got here to accomplish everything. It means something. And I know that it means something because I was there. I was in your position. I know how you feel. So I'm here to support you. I'm here to be here for you. I'm going to be here rooting for you in the stands. And I'm proud of you. And that's exactly what he has done in every single scenario. With Jey Uso, he was there to congratulate him. With Chelsea, he was right there for her. With Charlotte, he was right there for her. And all the girls in the back were back there. They were just chanting welcome back. They were clapping for her. They loved on her. And I liked the camaraderie spirit of all of it. I loved it. I thought it was such a beautiful moment because oftentimes women are accused of being the catty ones. Women are accused of not being able to be friends or to work with each other to get to a common goal. We're often the default. And in all actuality, it's y'all dudes. Y'all the ones who can't work with each other. Y'all the ones who can't stand if somebody else is at the top and you're not. It's not us. You feel me? That's another conversation for another day, though. I'm gonna get back to that in a minute because I saw something on the internet that really picks me off, and I just want to clarify a few things. Okay, so we're gonna head on over to Bianca. Bianca was scheduled to win the Elimination Chamber, but Bianca's story had a few twists and turns in it. Okay, so when we look at the storyline, the broad storyline, Bianca was the top girl. Jade Cargill was just coming in, so they made Bianca be a conduit for Jade Cargill. Follow me, stay with me, and I'm gonna bless you. Okay. Now the idea was that Jade and Bianca were state champs. They would end up fighting Raquel and Raquel and Liv at some point and drop those titles to them, and then they would go on to do whatever it is the feud was gonna do. But because Jade Cargill got injured, they had to do something to spin the story so that it would eventually work out in the grand scheme of things for all the women involved. And this is how the concept of Naomi turning and attacking Jade Cargill to be tag team champions with Bianca came into play. Michael Hayes explained it. Jade Cargill was injured, which she was injured, which is what I told everybody. The woman was injured. That's why she didn't come back for so long. Everybody thought she was just sitting at home waiting to come back. She wasn't cleared to come back. So she wasn't cleared to come back, so they couldn't push the angle forward. They had to wait till WWE doctors cleared it. Once they cleared it, Elimination Chamber was the perfect time to turn Naomi, or rather bring in Jade Cargill to basically vocalize who the true attacker was on her. Okay, because like I explained in my analysis video prior to all of this blowing out, the logical turn was, and the rightful turn, well, the rightful attacker was set to be Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. It was easy, it was simple, it worked, right? But they decided that they wanted to add some je ne sais quoi, some meat to this story, and the best way they could do that is have the person closest to you turn on you. And that is where this whole brainchild of Naomi proceed with caution, losing her mind, all came into play. Eventually, it worked out for not only Jade Cargill, but also for Naomi. So you had a plan that essentially gave everybody what they needed. Even Bianca got to have some time off. She get to chill. Her finger is still broken. It is healed, but the joint is not healed correctly from what I understand, and Bianca still can't bend it. So I believe she's gonna rehab until she can get her finger to bend properly, unless she has to have surgery. I'm hoping she doesn't have to have surgery. Once her hand and everything is in working condition, Bianca will be back, but I think Bianca might be out for quite some time. She may even miss like the end of the rest of this year, and it's possible that she doesn't pop up in Royal Rumble these if this rehab doesn't work out in her favor. But we're hoping that it does. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we we're going to talk about this thing because the execution of it, we all know. Jay came in, attacked Naomi. Bianca ended up being in the chamber all alone, having to fight her way through, all dealing with the emotion and everything. And she was able to successfully do that. When she got to the back, she was congratulated, of course, and everybody, was living their best lives. Happy on a high. We saw how Bianca makes her gear. We saw that her jacket was not fully sewn. Baby was so that bad. That jacket was safety pinned for the gods, honey. If one of them safety pins had popped, child, ooh, girl, Bianca be living on pins and needles, baby. Pins and needles. And I mean that literally. Girl, you gotta start making your gear months in ahead. You gotta start planning your stuff out on the schedule. I know y'all got a lot going on, but when you got downtime now, your ass need to be sewing your shit. You you need to be sewing all that shit. Like, come up with your concepts now. You should be writing them out in an iPad or on a notebook, writing your shit out, looking at the fans, what the fans is drawing. Okay, I'm gonna choose this, and this for the next 6 major pay-per-views. This is what I'm wearing. I'm finna start making this shit now. I'm going to the store, get this gear. You need to hire you an assistant who can sew so that they can sew the stuff while you on the road and you can just fix whatever you need to fix, okay? Because you could have had somebody sewing that jacket. You got to think smarter, not harder, Bianca. You got to move smart. I know you like to control everything, but girl, them safety pins took me out, honey. They took me the fuck out. I know damn well you was not walking around here with a goddamn jacket on with safety pins in it. Ma'am. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Ooh, unacceptable. You get you a damn assistant that know how to sew. Get an assistant. You need to hire an assistant that can maintain your schedule for you. You need to make sure your assistant can sew. If you can't find an assistant that sew, hire an assistant that can maintain your schedule and get you somebody that can help you sew these damn gears. You do not need a gear maker. You need to find you one of these kids that's straight out of fashion school that want some experience and want to be paid, honey. And get you one of them so they can help you make this damn gear. Because that don't make no sense. Okay? That don't make no goddamn sense. I was like, I know damn. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Mm. Now, let me tell you what Triple H's ass said, okay? Triple H was standing in the back. He was talking to Shane Helms, and Triple H said, the women just get it. They are light years ahead of the men. They are damn near perfect in the ring. They don't have no ego trips. They get their asses out there. They do their jobs. They're celebratory of each other. They just get it. They're smarter than us. They don't have no issues with people being chosen. And he said they just get it. There's about 5 girls in the PC right now that are already at where they need to be to one man. I said, Shane Helms was just like, hey, man, the truth is the truth. They're just better. They're just better. Then I went on to X, and I saw somebody on X say something to the effect of, essentially the fan was just like, Triple H is a feminist. It wouldn't surprise me if he's a feminist. Like, his comments are weird. It was something to that effect because I can't find the tweet. And I just want to say it's always somebody who is lonely, never felt the touch of a woman, can't get a woman to talk to them, don't know how to really hold conversation or be present in a moment with a person, don't know how to make friends, can't put themselves in a position where they are confident in how they speak when they're in front of people, who is online boasting being big and bad because you can hide behind the idea of a phone and a tablet and a computer. But if I'm in your face, you shrink. You don't have the bravado to be strong in my face. So it's funny to me when I see a lot of incels online get mad when a grown man is giving the women the props that they need and deserve. I saw another tweet where a lady was like, these comments don't mean nothing to me because you don't book them right. They're not booked great. We don't get to see the women as much as we get to see the men. And it's like, the situation is not about whether we get to see the women more than we get to see the men. The situation should be, what you should be asking for is quality over quantity. And what you're looking at when you come to the women's division is you're going to get quality no matter what part of the division you're in. Tag team, whether it's singles titles for the mid card or the main event when it comes to that championship. Those women are going to give you quality. They're going to give you peak performance. They're going to deep dive into that storyline no matter what it is. They work together and you can tell that they work together. So for you to sit your ass on the internet and be talking shit the way that you do and not see that the women provide you with quality entertainment, they're not being thrown breadcrumbs anymore. The women are main eventing the shows. The women are the one carrying the shows. They're setting the tone for the shows. Not to mention, Evolution just blew almost every pay-per-view we have had this year out the damn water. Set the tone for whatever pay-per-view is coming behind it. SummerSlam got to be better than Evolution. It's got to be. Or Triple H gonna have a problem on his hands. But one thing he did prove was that he can book the women. He can book a proper show, and that show can be booked full of women, no men in sight, and they will excel, exceed expectations. So instead of bitching about what the women aren't getting, you should be supporting everything that they do so that they continue to get more. Because y'all seem to forget that we are the barometer by which they're measured. Y'all seem to be the ones bitching online. Oh, I'm not watching that. Oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. This is boring. Why are we here? What is this? Y'all are the ones who do that. And then you wonder why you don't see Me Chin on TV no more. You wonder why you don't see BFAB on TV no more. You wonder why you're not seeing Chelsea, or when you're not seeing Candace. You're wondering why these people get pulled when they actually have segments or when they're actually on TV, and you just ignore them. You treat it like this isn't good enough for you. Maybe you need to start looking in the mirror. Hmm? And for all you incels that seem to be all in your feelings because Triple H is giving the girls their proper just due, look at the facts. Let's look at it. Right now in NXT, there are not a lot of top guys down there, but I guarantee you that women's division is crawling with potential champions, future and current, and a lot of them girls, if given the opportunity, can outshine and outwork half that men's roster. There are no hidden gems on the men's roster right now. They aren't hidden, they're in plain sight. But I can tell you this, at least 85% of the women that's in NXT right now and on them and 90% of the main roster are future superstar champions. Could possibly be put in title contingency right now. And they would work their asses off as a champion or to get there. You cannot say the same for the men's division. Everything is central focused around Roman, Seth, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Dominic Mysterio. AJ Styles, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and the MFTs, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Viking Raiders, Creed Brothers, everybody else, they fall under the wayside. Gunther too. There's nobody that stands out as the next superstar. There's nobody that stands out as somebody you can build up to be at the top. And this is no shade to anybody. But is it potential? Absolutely. Carmelo Hayes is one of them. It 1000% is potential. Penna is one of them. His brother Ray Phoenix is one of them. But it's all about timing. It's not about if they have it, it's about the timing of when they get it. That's what it's about. But the girls, they killed it as they always do. And some of y'all just mad disrespectful, and some of y'all just mad all the fucking time. And I need for y'all to clock the fuck in, bitch. Okay? And stop with the mess. Why we can't just enjoy the show? And if they do something that's deemed to be disrespectful and out of line, then call them out for it. But until then, just watch what we watching, girl. They're giving us tea. And if we keep supporting the girls, they will continue to push them forward. I'm just saying. This was WWE Unreal, and this was episode 3 of Worth the Wait. I got 2 more episodes to go. And girl, we are now on episode 4, the heel turn. So we're about to see what this is all about. And I'll see you guys in my next one, which will be episode 4 of WWE Unreal, the heel turn.